Thank you, Mr. Pettit. We'll call to order the meeting of the Merrillville Town Council for December 22nd, 2020 at around 6:35 p.m. Do we have our Madam Clerk Treasurer with us tonight? Mr. Reardon, would you mind taking the roll call, please, in her absence?
That's fine. I should add, Linda just notified me, Clerk Treasurer is having some difficulty engaging.
Okay.
So, Don Span,
Here.
Richard Hardaway,
Here.
Jeff Minchuk,
Here.
Margaret Uzelak,
Here.
Sean Pettit,
Here.
Leonard White,
Here.
Rick Bella.
Present.
I'll let the record show we have a quorum. All members present.
Thank you, Pat. Tonight, under petitions, communications, acknowledgements, or remonstrations, we have the request for application 13, requisition 22. I believe the commission just approved this. I'll turn it over to Steve King.
Is that for the approval of the community center payment?
No, this was,
The payments for core, Steve.
Okay. All right, the town's professional staff, myself, have reviewed the November 2020 billing for work completed at the new Dean and Barbara White Community Center, and we concur with Core Construction's recommendation in approving payment for application number 12 to the vendors listed below in the total amount of $1,580,246.00.
So moved.
motion by Mr. Pettit,
Second.
second by Mr. White. Questions or comments? Hearing none. Pat, roll call, please.
Mr. Span,
Aye.
Mr. Hardaway,
Yeah.
Mr. Minchuk,
Yes.
Mrs. Uzelak,
Yes.
Mr. Pettit,
Yes.
Mr. White,
Yes.
Mr. Bella.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
So Pat, what is the first item listed there? It's application number 13. Is that just a repeat of what we just did?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
No, this is the reimbursement, isn't it, Pat? The $150,000
I
for
was just
PIT?
going to say, I think it's
Okay.
Exhibit A in our packet, yeah? Right?
I apologize. It is the reimbursement request that we presented to the redevelopment commission.
Okay, no problem. We'll get it straight down here. So
So
this
moved,
is for-
Mr. President.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Pettit, second by Mrs. Uselak. Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you. Pat, roll call, please.
Mr. Span,
Yes.
Mr. Hardaway,
Yeah.
Mr. Minchuk, Mr. Minchuk,
I'm here, by the way,
you
so.
got it? Okay, you can, I'll turn it over to you in a second. Mrs. Uzelak,
Yes.
Mr. Pettit,
Yes.
Mr. White,
Yes.
Mr. Bella.
Yes,
Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
thank you. One item I'd like to add to the agenda tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is a resolution 20-42. If there's no objection, we will add that to tonight's agenda. It's a transfer of funds, $2,000. Any objections? Hearing none, we'll move on. The consent agenda, accounts payable voucher for December 22nd, and town council meeting minutes. We have quite a few, November 24th, December 8th, and December 14th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pettit, second by Mr. White for approval of the consent agenda. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. We're doing roll call because we're on Zoom. So Pat, roll call, please.
I thought I heard Kelly.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, roll call. We
Are you
are
ready to roll
on
call?
item number 4. Vote was just taken.
No.
Yes, for the consent.
So you need to take the roll call, please.
Sure. Mrs. Fan,
Yes.
Mr. Hardaway,
Yes.
Mr. Minchuk,
Yes.
Mrs. Uselak,
Yes.
Mr. Pettit,
Yes.
Mr. White,
Yes.
and Mr. Bella.
Yes,
7 votes.
thank you. The consent agenda is approved. Moving on to standing and special committees tonight, Budget and Finance, Mr. White.
I don't have a lot to add to the Budget and Finance Committee. I think it's something I had probably brought a little earlier. And I think that in terms of clarity, because I hadn't talked to Trista about it, it was, again, some of the employees, the part-time, were concerned that they wasn't part of the overall CARES Act disbursement. So I just wanted to bring that up because I don't know. I think actually that Rick had already said that by them being part-time, they didn't fit into that category. But Trista, could you enlighten me a little bit more on that?
Well, that was a council discussion, I guess, during one of the workshops, that can we afford to use some of the CARES Act reimbursement for raises in light of the fact that we're still very concerned about what the tax revenues will actually be during 2021. Council had hoped, or was talking at least, about giving some raises in 2021 and looking to see whether that was a good, sound financial decision considering everything happening. So I guess I don't really remember the reason why council settled at full-time versus part-time. I do know, just in looking through the records, that the difference in number of hours across your part-time staffs varies greatly. And if that were something that council was going to consider, then there should be some kind of, percentage evaluation. The town also does have some part-time people that only work in the summer months or only work in the winter months, or, a variety of schedules. And so to pay out a bonus now and try to somehow catch a year's worth of part-time employees would be difficult. You certainly couldn't give a bonus to someone now who only worked in June, July, and August because they're no longer on the payroll. So there's a lot of different concerns. I don't know if Joe has any other concerns to add to that, but.
Actually, the concern came from a part-time public works employee. And I don't know what that means because I don't understand. Does he work the summer? Does he work the winter? I don't know, but he definitely thought that he had got left out of the process. So I just wanted some clarification as to how to just tell him, like, have to see you the next time, pal.
Yeah, and I can understand how it's disappointing, and those are tough decisions the council has to make, obviously, throughout the course of a year. But
So can I clarify something also, because you mentioned it tonight, Mr. White, where you said the reimbursement bonus. The reimbursement fund, that's only the mechanism we use to it freed up funds so that we can do a $2,000 bonus. We're not giving away a COVID bonus to employees because it was a tough year. That's not what the bonus is. The bonus is monies that we had available because we got reimbursed for some other expenditures we didn't expect, mostly because of the police department. We were able to expense over $900,000 and get reimbursed on money we already had spent. So that freed up some funding for us to do an advance on salaries for 2021.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Rick, and that's what I'll be telling that individual that submitted that question to me. I'll just tell him this is the process that took place, and hopefully he understands it, and then we can move on. So I have nothing else to add in terms of the Budget and Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. White. Mrs. Uselak, Council Affairs.
No report at this time, Mr. President.
Thank you. Public Works, Mr. Minchuk.
Yes, sir. We've had a couple public works meetings in the past couple weeks. Nothing to report in detail as of yet, but we are looking at road up
town, hopefully over the next multiple couple of years. Once I get some exact details and I can answer questions a little bit better, I'll report back to the council.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman? Mr.
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes,
Yeah, this is Councilman Span. I have a comment about Public Works. I had a neighbor who a pole fell over on her garage and knocked out some utilities, and Public Works, Kevin came out and gave us a good hand in getting things set up with NIPSCO to get her reconnected, and maybe we can get the damage to her garage fixed. So I'd really like to make a comment that they're doing an excellent job, and I was very proud to see this lady get some help because she lives alone.
thank you, Mr. Span. Elections,
Thank
public
you.
relations.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Environmental affairs, Mr. White.
Yes, Mr. President. I actually, I guess as we move toward the vaccine portion of what's going on, I don't know if we're communicating with anybody as to when we can start looking at vaccinating our first responders. I don't know if anybody have any information on that, but if they do, could they forward that to me? Because I don't have any additional information. So I just want to know when we can get our guys protected and our ladies protected in the town as the first responders. So I don't know. So I'll just have to say, hopefully at the next meeting, if I'm still right there, I will ask that question again, because this thing is still spiraling out of control. As you can see, our death rate is definitely increasing, as well as our infection rate. So just need to know where we're at. Nothing else, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. White.
Can I ask the question?
Absolutely.
Yeah, with this COVID thing, how's the town planning to lay some things out? Because I heard some people in the town have COVID or had it or something. I don't know if it's a rumor, but if it's that close to home, we should have something to help our people out with. That's my comment.
Okay. Is Mr. Svetnov still with us?
Yes, I am.
Joe, can you maybe respond to Mr. Span? I mean, we don't really talk about these cases out in the open. We have had infections, of course, and but I'll let you kind of address it, Joe.
What was, excuse me, President Bella, what was the exact question again?
Well, Don is asking what we're doing for employees who had contracted COVID-19.
Well, I think what we're doing is internally, we're doing a contract trace system where we are having the supervisor report to the town manager about a potential exposure. That potential exposure then is being notified to all employees that were in contact with that directed, potentially infected employee. And then those employees are being notified to go get tested and then return back to the town with either test results that come back positive or negative. If they come back negative, they're allowed to return back to work. If they come back positive, they have to quarantine for such a period of time. So at this time, though, then the town is also, making some type of assurances to the employees that are infected that they will be put on certain how do I call this, certain benefits as allowable under the CARES Act concerning their time off, and if they're infected, they will be treated as such. So those are the type of steps that the town is taking concerning COVID related and infected individuals. So,
Mr. President, if I could add, you know, what Joe is highlighting here are protocols that we hammered out in March. Yes, we've had to bring those protocols out. And I will say everybody's responded positively when a staff member has tested positive. From an administration standpoint, PPE continues to be stockpiled, made available to every staff, every department. And the town hall is cleaned twice a day. We, as you know, have Jan come in with the Clorox 360. So we continue to make every precaution or take every precaution to stem COVID from not spreading and getting in. Thank you.
I would like to interject something here, Pat. I have heard from medical responders that when the vaccination comes to Indiana, the first place to receive it will be Munster Community Hospital. If that's true or not, I don't know. I just wanted to pass that on.
Thank you, Mrs. Uselak. I am aware of that. Some of you might have seen on TV, Munster Community Hospital has the capacity to accept this particular vaccine. I can't recall the manufacturer, and keep it cold, sub-zero, I believe, and how it's to be distributed from there, I don't know that.
Well, the future will show us.
Okay.
I think we are in limbo right now on where we're at with receiving the vaccination for our immediate area.
Anything else under personnel policy and employee benefits, Mrs. Uselak?
I just wanted to add that the policemen, they received the bonus of $4,000. Just as you had mentioned, Mr. President, the police were the only ones to receive a bonus at this time. And that's all I have to add. But thank you.
Well, actually, that's don't forget about the other employees, Marge. Everyone else got a $2,000 bonus.
Oh, yes, they got a $2,000 raise, I thought it was.
Well,
Isn't that, or a $2,000 bonus?
$2,000 bonus, which was kind of treated as an advance on their pay for next year.
Right, and that was all the other full-time employees, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. That's it.
Sure. Public safety, Mr. Minchuk.
I have nothing new. I know we have the chief here with us. Chief, you got any updates or anything going on?
Yes, good evening, everybody. I just want to cover a couple of things. One, the police and the clerical over on my end is very appreciative on the December bonus, and they wanted to let you know they appreciate that. Also, I want to give thanks to Pat for the continued assistance at the North Station, and with Dan Brown and Kevin with Public Works. They moving this project forward, and that's appreciative. And also, just Ms. Uselak, I just want to let you know that my department was contacted, and we escorted the personnel to South Lake campus with that vaccine. So it's in our area as well.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. That's it, Councilman Minchuk.
I have a question for you, Chief Catino.
Yes, sir.
With the escort of the vaccine to South Lake Methodist Hospital, or as far as you know, South Lake Methodist Hospital, have you had any information as to when they may distribute it to the first responders like yourself and you guys? I think I kind of asked that question a few minutes ago, but I just wanted to follow up because I wasn't aware that, you guys, I would almost say that's a sacred package that you help deliver there, because of a life-saving package. So I just wanted to know, had they given you any timeline as to when first responders might be receiving it?
What we did was we put that out to the head of security, Joe Gonzalez, who was a previous police officer here with Methodist, and Methodist has been very helpful with the police department. And he's going to advise us as soon as they start recognizing us because I heard it's supposed to be the first responders are supposed to be the next one up. So as soon as they let us know, I'll share it with everybody.
Thank you. No more questions.
Anything else, Mr. Minchuk?
No, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Pettit, Economic Development Report.
Yes, later on the agenda, Mr. President, we're going to have ordinance 2020, which the Planning Commission previous to this meeting gave a favorable recommendation to change the land use plan out at Ameriplex at the Crossroads. As many of you may know, and Pat chime in if I'm incorrect, I see Mr. Bauer is also on the phone. This is in a request from the developer who is in the process of purchasing 35 acres from Holiday Corporation to build a 140,000 square foot distribution center that will employ 199 individuals and is about about $30 million investment.
32.5, Councilman.
So we'll have that ordinance later on in the agenda, Mr. President. And I would ask the council, I'm going to make a motion to suspend the rules and read that ordinance on second reading tonight.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation, Mrs. Uselak.
Yes, all the parts of Merrillville that we have are completed from the north to the south end of Merrillville. And maybe Jan has a report maybe on the Green Light Center. Dean and Barbara Light Center.
I could just say that Jan has been very busy running like a jackrabbit back and forth, accommodating needed items at the recreation center, coordinating with Andrew, still running the park department. Today we have completely boxed up the entire department. Our computers will be down as of tomorrow, and we will be back up sometime January 8th. So we'll be working from our tablets or our cell phones.
Thank you, Jan. Very good.
Thank you.
Utility Liaison, Mr. Span.
Yes, I kind of reached out a little early on the Public Works to tell you what was going on with my utility problem. I think everybody knows what's going on. The lady's being taken care of.
Very good. Thanks, Don. Town Identity and Beautification, Mrs. Uselak.
Yes, we haven't had a meeting, but in your letter, you have recommended this following year, 2021, with Merrillville's birthday coming up, that we will probably be posting Happy Birthday Merrillville signs. So I think sometimes around 2021, we'll be having meetings and going through what we can do for our birthday.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Community and Recreation Center co-chairs, Mr. Minchuk and Mr. Pettit.
Go ahead, Sean.
Again, as Jan said, it's been a very busy time. The guys at CORE and all the subs are really busting their butts out there. They're putting in the front desk. The basketball courts have been sealed and now are being sanded. We have all 3 basketball court sponsorships secured with Bozak Motor, Centier Bank, and NIPSCO. The rock climbing wall is going to be secured by Meyer Galeros, our insurance company. Very happy to announce the event center, which can hold up to 540 people, will be sponsored by Mike Anderson Chevrolet. The outdoor patio is going to be sponsored by CORE. The portrait of Dean and Barbara White is up in the center. You guys need to go by there on your own. You don't need a hard hat or anything. Andrew can walk you through the center and you can see everything that's been going on. Signage is going up. Rick is designing the plaque. We took several change order approvals at the redevelopment commission meeting, including the bar that's going to go up at the inside concession stand that's being sponsored by the Northwest Indiana Building Trades, Randy Palmatier. We've got Joe working on a lot of the naming rights agreements. The community studio has been sponsored by the McDonald's Corporation through Sherry Modrak. Jeff and Jan, am I missing anything?
I think you got it.
We are out to bid. One large sponsor that I forgot Mr. Bella secured for us is Don Weiss. We're going to name the football field after Don's parents and Jeff has been working on the scoreboard design with Andrew. So that will be, how's it officially going to read, Rick? Is it going to be Mickey or Marvin Weiss?
Yeah, it's going to be Weissfield in memory of Marvin and Mildred Weiss.
Okay, so we've got a lot of the sponsorships are taking place. We're giving Joe a lot of paperwork. Joe seems to be just as busy as Jan with this project. I greatly appreciate both you guys for everything you've done so far. So again, I encourage all the council members and staff. I know Steve took Linda through there the other day. Go through there. Everybody that's gone through there, the running theme is, wow, this is amazing. So, you know, we went through some growing pains last year with financing and that, but I think it's going to be something everybody's going to be very proud of.
Mr. President, I have a question.
Sure.
Yes, in terms of the naming rights, because there's some big things that we're looking at here when we put people's names or individuals' names in certain areas of. So I just like to do an outreach to see if there's other interests in people wanting to, you know, maybe I want to name the field after myself. How much does that cost? I don't know.
$25,000.
Okay, well that takes me out of that.
Me too.
We've got a walking path, Leonard, that'll cost you $100,000 for 5 years if you'd like to sponsor that.
Well, that's probably going to take me out of that one too. But you know, I just want to let people know that some people may have $100,000. I don't know. Maybe we put $100,000 together. I don't know.
Well, I will tell all of you folks that these folks that have done this, a lot of them, you know, Jeff made the contact at Mike Anderson. Rick made the contact with Don Weiss and with Methodist Hospital looking at the fitness center. Steve King has reached out to Robinson Engineering. Jan went to Sherry Modrack. I went to Meyer Galeros. You know, Pat's working on some with Bozak and some of that stuff. And so the first meeting that Rick and I had, we had with a company, and when we presented them the pricing sheet, they just, and I was somewhat surprised. They said they're just not in a financial position to sponsor it at this time. And so we adjusted all those pricing, the sponsorship levels down. There is the ability, Jan and Rick have investigated, and I think it's on order or might be there already, which is a light box that will be hung along the walking path. It's only $1,700 for 1 year. And so some of the smaller businesses, or Leonard, if you want to, you know, buy it for $1,700, there are going to be light boxes advertising along the walking path, the elevated walking path. So there's other opportunities. I will bring up, though, Rick had a good idea, and I'm not going to make it a motion, but I will tell you that Jeff and Rick and I discussed. Jeff had a great idea that the wall that's up against the Bozak court. Bozak's is the very first court. There's a brick wall, cinder block wall. And Jeff and Rick had a great idea of getting decals that look like actual bricks. And I would encourage, we're going to sell those for $100 a piece. And I would encourage all seven of us to buy one of those bricks, and we can put our family name on it or Councilman Leonard White. We're going to stick those decals on that brick wall for $100 a piece. Rick's very good at the design. He'll get the decals made. And I think that's an excellent idea, Rick, that all the elected officials should buy a brick on that wall.
Can we put it in LEDs?
I'll buy one too.
Sean, these are all tax deductible, right? All donations?
I think that might come out of the committee to elect Marge Uzelak.
No, I'm not talking about that. I meant with the other sponsors. The biggies, big amounts, they're tax deductible, correct?
Yeah, I believe so. Joe, how are you? We're setting up these naming rights. Are these tax deductible contributions from like Bozak and Centir?
Yeah. The way the naming rights agreement is worded is that, you know, as far as we're concerned, we're a governmental entity that is tax exempt, that the business contributing has to check with their tax advisor, but it should be a charitable deduction or at least a business deduction as to their corporation or business. So.
Thank you, Brett.
Sure.
That's all I've got, Mr. President.
Anything else to add, Mr. Minchuk?
I don't want to repeat a lot of what Sean said, but I just want to be very thankful to all the sponsors that we had. It's remarkable of what we've gotten accomplished so far. I know we have a few items left, so if there's any sponsors out there, feel free to come through. We'll give you a tour of the place, and we'll go from there. I think a couple of the big items were the walking track and the outside press box, and I think the pre-function were the three big things, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's left. Is Chad
We're also
on the line?
going to offer the golf simulator for $25,000 sponsorship.
Yeah, I added that to the spreadsheet tonight, Rick. I forgot to include that when I sent it out. Hey, is Chaz still on the line?
Yes.
Chaz, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Times would look good on that indoor walking path, man.
Right.
I have no control over that, but I can definitely send over information about that to the powers that be.
I think
that came from Pat Reardon.
Sponsor the press box.
Anything else to report, gentlemen?
That's it.
Well, Mr. President, you did miss me again on a second time. I didn't get to say anything about abandoned properties, but I don't have anything, but I just let you know you skipped me on that one.
Oh,
So,
you know what? I even checked it off, Leonard.
I must be invisible, man.
I think I can probably get through the Okay, well, all right.
Okay.
Moving on then to Lake County Solid Waste Management District, Mr. White.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you know, this is the end of the year, and we only do bi-monthly meetings, and one has not been scheduled for the month of December, so I have no reports from the Lake County Solid Waste Management District. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hardaway, anything from NERC?
No report.
Thank you, sir. Stormwater Management Resources, Matt Lake.
Yeah, I just want to mention tomorrow we're going to be shutting down a portion of Grand Boulevard from 93rd to 97th for an emergency repair. If you've driven by 97th Grand Boulevard, there's a very large ditch on the east side. It's been washing away towards the road. We had a contractor going out there tomorrow. We're going to stabilize the slope. And then I talked to Steve about maybe realigning the road away from the ditch a bit and give it some more defensible space and make it safer. So it's a very dangerous area. So we're going to be out there tomorrow with a contractor to address at least what's going on there now. But I think the road needs to be realigned to the west within the right of way to give us more room, and then maybe put a guardrail or something there because that's a very dangerous spot.
I was going to ask that because Matt, Bruce and I always had this debate about guardrails, and I'll turn to Joe from a legal standpoint. You know, there's a lot of debate on whether or not guardrails are a hazard or a safety concern. I know I-65 has got those cables strung for crossing over the median that were installed. Joe, if we install guardrails, what's the liability? I mean, we're trying to make this road safer, and I've had discussions with our plow guy, Tom Gardner, who plows out in the Panhandle. You know, he slid off of Grand Boulevard before, slid off of 97th before. We've had to pull them out with a tow. You know, they've got those drainage ditches on the side of those roads out there. It's pretty bad, like Matt said.
Sean, I will tell you that, you know, as a safety measure or a subsequent remedial measure, that we should be protected under Indiana code. But as you know, anybody at any time can sue the town for anything. So,
right.
I think it's always a good idea to try to protect people, to try to protect the property and safety of others. So at this time, I couldn't see anything being objectionable about installing a guardrail, but with the caveat that, again, we could get sued by somebody if somebody gets injured regarding that. But again, I think we'd have some necessary defenses that we could bring up.
Okay.
And if we add guardrails, let me just add to that too. And if we do decide we're going to add guardrail along that segment, which is a good idea, it'll all follow NDOT standards with certified installers, to make sure that we're covered on those aspects too. When NDOT does their guardrail contracts, I mean, all the new guardrail technology is up to date. These guys got to go through training to install this stuff. Everybody who installs it is certified to install it through NDOT themselves.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Can I have a quick question?
Sure.
Yeah. What about flashing lights also? Would that help make people aware so they're not speeding or acting stupid going through there? I hate to use the word stupid, but you know.
I talked to Kevin about signage and things like that, so that's a good idea. You know, just have a sign there, it's a steep slope or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think if we can get that road, Matt and I talked about this earlier today. I think if we can get this fixed done right now, get that road realigned, maybe 4 foot to the west. We got plenty of room in the right of way. We got more of an embankment on the west side. We talked about widening it about 4 foot to the west, kind of shift everything over, so we can kind of safe that area up a little bit more.
Anything
Yeah,
else?
but I'm fine with that. It's just that like I say, motorists respect flashing lights, just like a train crossing.
The one thing you need to watch out for regarding flashing lights is to make sure you're in conformance with NDOT standards.
Yeah.
Because at some point, if the lights are flashing too much, that could potentially cause some type of interference with people who suffer from seizures or something along those lines. So just make sure you're in conformance with the flashing lights with the state.
It's just a thought. It's just a thought.
Yeah. Yeah, we would follow the most current up to date. It's called an MUTCD manual. It's standards for all signage. So we would follow those guidelines like we always do.
Good deal.
Gotcha.
That's all I had, Mr. President.
Well, Matt, under your topic here, I do want to make a suggestion. I'd like to have your board meet with our board sometime after first of the year in a workshop setting. The topic's going to be these retention ponds. We need to brainstorm on what we could do because it's becoming an issue more and more. I think it affects the southern part of town the most because we have that type of development that uses this type of drainage. But as you know, you and I conversed this week about an issue in Ward 5, and we have these HOAs that are abandoning their HOAs and leaving the retention ponds with no maintenance program.
Not to mention other properties within all the common areas within subdivisions. So we do have a draft ordinance that we presented, and we'd like to go over that and see if the town wants to pass this ordinance.
That's what I'd like to do. We're going to invite Mr. Stetnoff to attend. I know we've all been busy with a lot of things, but we need to tackle this issue once and for all, I feel. So
agree.
We'll be in touch. I'll have talked to Pat and we'll schedule something hopefully after first of the year, and maybe we can meet in person. That would be nice.
Great.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Moving on to department reports. Are there any reports from department heads and or town manager Pat Reardon?
No report from the building department, planning and building.
Well, I'm sure we're going to hear from you later on tonight anyway, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anything to add, Pat?
No, I don't, except to point out that in your packet, you have a copy of Ms. Streck's latest report. She contacted me late afternoon and apologized. Matter came up at work, and that's why she's not on the call, but we can look forward to her full participation at the beginning of the year. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
If I can I ask the council a question?
Absolutely, Chief.
Next council meeting on the 12th, I have an officer that like to come before you for swearing in. And I'm trying to get an exact location where we probably going to take place. Would it be here at the town hall? Just to give her a heads up with a family count. I'd like to attend.
I'm not sure we're in a position yet to say we're going to be back in person, Chief. Can you just allow us to get back to you as soon as possible?
Yes, and if not, I have to get with Madam Clerk Treasurer to have it done on that particular day.
We may need to do that off to the side just to get them sworn in, and then when it's more appropriate, we
Yes, I can do
have
it.
them come back for a ceremonial swearing in like we did last time.
Copy.
Thanks, Chief. Moving on tonight to general orders, we have a first reading ordinance 2020. This is, Madam Clerk Treasurer, this is the change of land use at the Merrillville.
Okay, sorry, my background is loud. Give me 1 second.
And Kelly, while you're getting ready, can you
Yes.
please converse with Pat and let's get your tech issues taken care of so that,
Yeah, you know, I was trying to do Zoom and I couldn't get on, so then I switched to the telephone. And honestly, I need better glasses. I kept mixing up the numbers, so that's my issue today. Because I need to get some real glasses. Just this week, I started needing reading glasses. I never needed them really before. Okay, I'm ready.
okay.
Ordinance number 2020, an ordinance of the town of Merrillville, Indiana, provided that ordinance 505 and 0478, town of Merrillville, Lake County, Indiana, be amended by changing the tentative land use plan adopted therein. Be it ordained by the town council of the town of Merrillville. Section 1, that ordinance number 05-05 authorized under ordinance number 04-78 be and the same is hereby amended by changing the tentative land use for the following real estate. Lot 18 in Merrillville at the crossroads according to the plat thereof recorded December 9, 2020 as a document number 2020-090618, book 113, page 87 in the office of the recorder of the Lake County, Indiana. General location, 9751 Massachusetts Drive, Crown Point, Indiana. The attached tentative land use plan is adopted by the town council, providing the lot shall be advanced manufacturing / flex under the ordinances amended herein. Section 2, the town council now finds that the above amendment will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community, and that the use or value of the area adjacent to the property included in this ordinance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner, and the need for the change herein arises from a condition peculiar to the property involved, and the condition is not due to the general conditions of the neighborhood. The town council further finds that the strict application of the terms of the ordinance will constitute an unusual and necessary hardship if applied to the property herein if this change was not granted, and this change does not interfere substantially with the comprehensive plan. Section 3, that the county engineer and or planning and building administrator is hereby authorized and directed upon enactment and approval of this ordinance to cause a change to be made in the ordinances to make certain notations in ink thereon and to record the date of passage of this ordinance. Section 4, since an emergency exists for the immediate taking effect of this ordinance, the same shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and or as soon thereafter as provided, as otherwise provided by law. Passed and adopted by the town council in town of Merrillville on this day, December, where are we, 22nd, 2020?
22nd till midnight.
Yep.
Motion to approve, Mr. President, for discussion.
Motion by Mr. Pettit.
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Span for discussion. Mr. Pettit.
Just one question for Sheila and Joe on the town grid. This is listing 9751 Massachusetts Drive. Is that a special street name, Sheila, in the Ameriplex, or shouldn't it be Massachusetts Street?
No, it's Massachusetts Drive.
That's how they're listing it?
That's how it's listed. It's listed that way in the county on the GIS, Massachusetts Drive.
Okay. All right. The other item, Mr. President, as you might be aware, the Plan Commission gave a favorable recommendation to this. This is at Ameriplex at the Crossroads, which is in my ward. Mr. Greg Bauer is on the line as well. This is a 35-acre development that is being sold to a developer from Holiday Corporation to develop a 135,000 square foot building, creating 199 jobs. We will be building Massachusetts as well as 96th Avenue. Steve and Pat have been working on this with the design. Pat has done yeoman's work. I can't thank you enough, Pat, for everything you've done on this project. This is referred to as Project Merit. Due to confidentiality with Mr. Bauer's client, I know what the use is. I'm not going to divulge that until it's appropriate. Greg, do you have any comments for the council?
No, I think you said it all tonight for the most part. Sean, I'm happy to address any questions that any council member has regarding this project. Seafeed Properties is in due diligence and seeking to acquire this site and do exactly what Councilman Pettit indicated. This is just adjusting a boundary. And with that, within the overall park, the zoning remains the same. And again, I'm willing to address any questions that any council person has at this time. And I would like to thank, and I think Councilman Pettit touched on this a little bit, the team at the town of Merrillville that we've been working with, Seafeed Properties and myself, Sheila Shine, Pat Reardon, and Joe Svetnoff have been extremely helpful through this process to get this accomplished. And we certainly appreciate their efforts that have gone above and beyond. So with that, we'd be happy to address any questions or comments you have.
I do want to add two items and ask Pat for some input. To the best of my knowledge, Pat, there are no incentives being requested by this developer. Is that correct?
That is correct. However, we are looking at the construction of the Broadway portion of the project. You know, it is developer driven, and I just had a conversation with Seafried about the possibility of assistance, whether from the town, the RDA, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. We've been meeting with INDOT, and per INDOT's design request, there's an extra $900,000 to $1 million of infrastructure work that's called for. But they are not asking for tax abatement, personal or real.
Okay, and then the other comment, Mr. President, for the record with Pat, you mentioned earlier, this is a $32 million investment, correct?
That is correct. All in, land acquisition, building, and equipment.
So again, when this building is finished, along with Midwest Tire and Auto, that additional increment is going to be generated in the Broadway TIF, which the town will benefit from.
That is correct. I conferred with Seafried, and our numbers jive in that this project, from a real estate tax perspective, will generate over $400,000 annually for the town.
Any other questions or comments on the motion?
Call for the vote, Mr. President.
We have a call for the vote. Madam Clerk Treasurer, roll call, please.
Mr. Span,
Yes.
Mr. Hardaway,
Yes.
Mr. Benchuk,
Yes.
Mrs. Uzelak,
Yes.
Mr. Pettit,
Yes.
Mr. White,
Yes.
and Mr. Bella.
Yes.
7 votes in favor.
7-0, that motion passes.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and read this ordinance on second reading.
Second.
We have a
So
motion.
moved.
We have a
Oh, you
motion.
made the motion? I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules to hear ordinance 2020 on second and final reading. Any discussion on the motion to suspend? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Span,
Yes.
Mr. Hardaway,
Yeah.
Mr. Benchuk,
Yes.
Mrs. Uzelak,
Yes.
Mr. Pettit,
Yes.
Mr. White,
Yes.
Mr. Bella,
Yes.
7-0.
7-0, that we're going to suspend the rules to read ordinance 2020 on second and final reading. Is there a motion from the floor?
So moved.
Motion.
Chair
Second.
recognizes Mr. Pettit. Mr. White, do you want to make it a second?
Yes, sir. Second.
Second by Mr. White for final reading of ordinance 2020. Discussions on the motion? Hearing none. Public comment. Is there any public comment on the second reading of ordinance 2020? This is for the tentative land use plan. Is there any public comment?
No.
Hearing none. Madam Clerk Treasurer, roll call, please.
Certainly. Mr. Span?
Yes.
Mr. Hardaway?
Yes.
Mr. Minchuk?
Yes.
Mrs. Uzelak?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
And Mr. Bella?
Yes.
7 votes in favor to 0.
7-0. Motion carries on second and final reading. Moving on
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Excuse me, my name is Dave Reefe. Can I say just one thing on behalf of the petitioner?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, well, thank you very much to the council for supporting this matter. We as a petitioner appreciate it very much. I wasn't able to get my video working, but I have been listening. On behalf of Seafried Properties, I'd like to thank the council members for your support. But particularly as we work, into the late days of the year here, we know that this is a very busy time, and appreciate all your time to hear this matter. On a housekeeping front, we are.
Earrings like this one?
I didn't see anything, but I'll find out and ask
Okay.
the bartender.
I will, because it might be there.
Yeah, and excuse me, just the one other point that I wanted to make on a housekeeping matter is that it is very important for us to get the ordinance
How about trying
executed.
the earring like this
And-
when I
And
think I
Pat
knocked this
Reardon
off
is
with
going
this
to
ear when I
work
was
with
on my
all
bag.
of you to get that signed. If you could over the next day, would be very much appreciated.
Yes, we'll do the best we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on tonight to second reading ordinances. We have ordinance 20-18. It's a Town of Merrillville ordinance adjusting the payroll for the calendar year 2021, commonly known as the salary ordinance. The second reading, what is your pleasure, council?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Uselak, second by Mr. Span, is that right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. You got 2 seconds.
Well, good. Any questions or comments on the motion? As I said, this is the salary ordinance.
Mr. President, I would just like to point out that I believe Councilman Pettit addressed the quantity of people assigned for the council members versus council members plus plan commission lines there. And you'll see in the packet today that your ordinance has been amended to reflect 3 and 3 in each spot. And so if this is approved today and signed, you will be in the correct positions.
Thank you. Any other comments by the council? Hearing none. Madam Clerk Treasurer, could you take the roll call, please? Are you there, Kelly?
I'm here.
We'd like to have a roll call on ordinance 20-18, please.
Mr. Span?
Yes.
Mr. Hardaway?
Yeah.
Mr. Minchuk? Mr. Minchuk?
Kelly, I hear your background noise.
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to get away. Okay,
Is there
Mr.
a
Minchuk?
quiet place you can go, Kelly, for the balance of the meeting?
Yeah,
That
I
would be
just
helpful.
found it. I just
Well,
found it.
We're just about through it, really. It won't be too much longer.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just found it.
Mr. Minchuk voted yes.
I'm in another thing. Okay. Mrs. Uselak?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit? Mr. Pettit?
Mr. Pettit abstains.
And Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Bella?
Yes.
Okay. 6 votes yes, 1 abstention.
Motion carries. Ordinance 20-18 is approved and adopted. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to resolutions tonight, we have Resolution 20-40. We're moving $3,000 around for equipment purchases. The net effect is zero.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Spence, seconded by Mrs. Uselak for approval of this transfer of funds. Any questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, because we're on Zoom, we'll take a roll call if you can do that, Madam Clerk Treasurer.
Yes. Mr. Span?
Yes.
Mr. Hardaway?
Yeah.
Mr. Minchuk?
Yes.
Mrs. Uzelak?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit?
I think
Is
the
Mr.
call
Pettit?
dropped Mr. Pettit, so
Mr. Pettit, is his call dropped?
is he, so he'd be a no vote? I mean, a no
And-
vote, so.
And Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Bella?
Yes,
6 in favor.
that motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to Resolution 20-41. This is a resolution encumbering monies that weren't spent this year in the budget that are allocated to be spent in next year's budget.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Uselak, second by Mr. Span for approval of Resolution 2041, encumbering monies from the 2020 budget into the 2021 year. Questions or comments on that? Anything to add, Trista?
Just to explain briefly, council, of course, is used to some of these things coming at the end of the year. There is a little bit longer list than normal, I think, for the police department, but that's simply due one to our unusual COVID year and them trying to kind of organize what their priority list is, as well as the new administration coming in and spending some time to evaluate. Chief, please feel free to jump in as you want to, but giving the new administration time to evaluate where their needs are. The most important things here are being taken care of quickly with the new server involved, the riot gear, which obviously we saw a need for really back in the summertime, as well as the computer equipment. Council will see that the entire stock of the new computers for the police department are taken out of the town admin line, which is part of the reimbursement from the COVID monies, the $249,000. And then also for the town council side, the new AV equipment, the remaining bill that's due is listed as well. So we do have the invoices collected. If anyone wants to see those for any reason, we certainly can share them. I was able to get the last copies today and scanned into Linda, so they will be in Pat's office there as of tomorrow morning if anyone needs a copy for referral.
Very good, thank you. Any other questions or comments by the council? Hearing none, Madam Clerk Treasurer, roll call, please.
Mr. Span?
Yes.
Mr. Hardaway?
Yeah.
Mr. Minchuk?
Yes.
Mrs. Uzelak?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Bella?
Yes,
7-0 in favor.
7-0, motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Moving forward to the new resolution added tonight is Resolution 20-42, is a transfer of funds, $2,000 from the general and town administration account, and $2,000 into the general bonuses and bonuses FICA Medicare.
Motion to approve, sir.
Thank you. Motion from Mr. Smith.
Second.
Second by Mr. Uselak. Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk Treasurer?
Mr. Span?
Yes.
Mr. Harderer?
Abstain.
Mrs. Uzelak?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit?
Abstain.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Bella?
Yes.
5 votes yes, 2 abstentions.
5 with 2 abstentions, motion carries. Moving on tonight to BZA actions, I'll turn it over to Ms. Sheila Shine.
BZA actions. Petitioner Mariel C. Neighbors, owners, Hobart Residential LLC, request special exception approval to allow a child care center located at 1050 West 84th Drive in the C2 Community Commercial Zoning District. Petitioner is requesting special exception approval to allow a child care center to be located at 1050 West 84th Drive in the C2 Community Commercial Zoning District. Petitioner would like to open a child care center in units A and B. There will be 20 children ages 2 through 12, 5 staff members, 3 teachers, and 2 designated staff members for hourly sanitizing and disinfecting the facility. Unit A is 3,000 square feet, and Unit B is 2,474 square feet. After COVID-19, petitioner is looking to expand to Unit C. The daycare will be known as Child Connect Incorporated. The enrollment hours are 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the first group, and the second group is 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Each group will consist of 10 students. The recommended playground will be approximately 56 square feet from the daycare center emergency playground exit at the rear door of Unit B. The playground will have ample space to accommodate the children and will be fenced in. Children Connect will safely monitor each child enrolled during the play area. The fire inspector has met with petitioner regarding the safety of the entrances and exits. The final inspection will be done by the state fire inspector and the town fire inspector before opening. Petitioner must get town approval first. There will be 7 parking spaces removed after the playground area is built. However, there is approximately 98 parking spaces on site. Parking is ample for the site. The staff will use 8 parking spaces. Drop off and pickup will have dedicated staff to receive the children. Drop off and pickup traffic will be organized. Children Connect will provide 3 snacks and 2 meals per day. The meals will be catered. Petitioner is aware of the camera ordinance and an attorney has a copy of the letter of intent. Petitioner has had a special meeting because the license will expire because of inactivity and she will lose her pre-approved loan. For this petitioner only, at this location only, with this use only. And the Board of Zoning Appeals put one condition on it, and that was that there had to be, where did my sheet go? There had to be the pickup had to be on the side and rear, side drive and rear door.
Sheila? This is
Yes,
Councilman White.
she's here. Muriel?
Yes, good evening.
Okay.
Okay, hello, Muriel. This is Councilman White. I was going to ask Sheila actually, because I don't know about the reference. Is this a new Is this a new daycare center, or is this something that had been there before? Because this is actually the first time I really looked at it this hard. So I just want to make sure that when I look at my vote for this, that I have enough information to make an informed decision.
So she is seeking a variance to have a daycare center located at 1050 West 84th Drive. It would be a new daycare at this particular location. This is the location where there was a fitness center in the location, and it's been empty for some time. So she is seeking to go in Unit A and Unit B.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have a question. Are you going to receive state vouchers for the children that will be attending your daycare?
Yes,
Are
I
you
would.
receiving help from the state vouchers?
Yes, I am. I am will be receiving subsidizing payment through the state for parents that qualify.
And has your daycare been approved by the state? Did you go through all the procedures that you had to with the state?
Yes. Yes, I have. Back in April and May, everything is pending per this meeting. So the state won't go forward with it until I get approved from the city of Merrillville. But yes, all the necessary classes and training has been in place for months.
And what are the ages of the children that will be attending your daycare?
For during the COVID time, it's going to be school-age children that need assistance with the learning, the internet, by learning through internet. But if it's the regular time, it's going to be 6 weeks to 12 years of age.
Okay, are they using the Chromebook now with you, or is that what you intend to use the Chromebook with them?
Yes, yes. The children are provided with their own Chromebook per school.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That answers my questions.
So this isn't the first time you've been in this business, right, Muriel?
No. Right now, I'm currently in Illinois and South Holland, Illinois,
Okay.
and I'm transferring, expanding to the state of Indiana.
So will Illinois location remain open also?
No, I'm dissolving my license in Illinois.
Okay. And are you a resident of Hobart, hence your business name?
Merrillville.
Oh, you live in Merrillville?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Well, I do have a Hobart address on here. Owner, Hobart Residential LLC.
No, that's the Hobart LLC is the owner of that building, that whole complex there.
Okay, I understand. So she will be leasing that building, correct?
Right, she will be leasing from Hobart LLC. That's who owns Hobart Residential LLC owns that complex there.
Okay.
Merrillville Drive.
What other businesses or buildings surround that address? What other buildings or any other business that is in that immediate area?
This is south of Meyer, Margie, on Merrillville Road and 84th at the stoplight.
The L-shaped strip mall.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Built by Pat Shackey.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the bulk of the building used to be the fitness center.
All right.
Any other questions for this petitioner?
Rick, this is your ward. Do you have any concerns?
I don't. I'll be asking for a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. White, seconded by Mr. Span for approval of this petitioner. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Madam Clerk Treasurer, roll call, please.
Mr. Span?
Yes.
Mr. Hardaway?
Yes.
Mrs. Uzelak?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Bello?
Yes.
7 votes in favor.
7-0, this motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on tonight, is there any old business before us? Any new business before us tonight, ladies? We have one concern under new business. I received some photographs today from a Merrillville resident, and they were photographs of, at first when I saw them, it looked like a police car. But when I looked at it a little bit closer, it was the town court car. I see that Judge Velasco is on the line with us tonight. Can you tell me, Judge, who was driving the town court car today around 12:30 p.m.?
That would have been me.
It would have been you?
Why?
Well, I received photographs from a resident, and they were complaining that the car was parked in a handicap zone. I think it was at Pepe's Restaurant on 84th Avenue. Is that right?
That's correct. I have a handicap placard.
Okay. And you use that in the town car?
Sure, anywhere, wherever I go.
Okay. Was it properly displayed, you think? Because why would they have a complaint, you think, Judge?
I don't know, because sometimes, you know, even on my other cars, it's a, you know, it's a small placard and it's kind of curled. So it's possible that they were unable to. In fact, people have asked me, do you have a placard? And I go, it's right there.
Okay.
Oh, you could hardly see it. Well, you know, can't help you there.
Do you think you may get a new one or something so
Mm-hmm.
that
Excuse me. I heard somebody say something.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, you know, basically, yeah, that I have a placard, correct.
Okay, now are you driving this car all the time, Judge?
Yeah, I went to lunch from going over to the building, and then I went to lunch, and then I went back to the building later on today.
So I guess my question is, are you driving this car? Is it a daily driver for you? Are you taking it home?
No, I have other cars. I just took it to go to work today.
Okay. All right. I'll let them know. They don't want to give their name, of course.
Well, I have a comment to make. I have one of those placards too. And you know what? If you don't have the license plate with the wheelchair on it, people get confused if they do not look inside by the windshield where the placard hangs.
Right.
So actually, he is in the right. You could use your placard on every car you drive from what I was notified when I received mine.
Very good.
So I think the people that made the complaint should be notified that he has a placard and he's in the right.
Absolutely.
Mr. President, additionally, I think that the court vehicle looks so similar to police vehicle.
Right.
It could be easily confused or construed that it's a police vehicle, and I think people probably got offended thinking like, oh, well, why would a police car be in a handicap spot? So I just think maybe.
Yeah, Mr. Wade might be right.
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They do not look inside where your rearview mirror is. The placard hangs on that, and if they're not looking inside, they do not see the wheelchair placard.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, that's
Thanks for
probably
clearing that up.
probably the answer to that.
All right. Is there any public comment this evening? Is there any public comment? Hearing
Well,
none.
I have a public comment. My public comment is I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hope to see you January 4th and see where we go from there.
Very good.
All right.
Same to you, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. The same to you.
You're welcome.
God bless.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, under announcements, I do want to announce we're still seeking individuals to serve on various boards and commissions. I believe we're going to take applications through the end of the year. Is that right, Pat?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Those appointments will be done at the January 12th, 2021 meeting. So we'll schedule a workshop prior to that so that we can discuss the appointments for the boards and commissions. Pat will get us a list, an updated list.
Yes, I will.
Council will meet in executive session at January 5th at 5 o'clock. I think we have a conflict, right, Sean? Did we schedule the walkthrough with Methodist?
Yes, we did.
Okay, well, so let's make this at 6:30, January 5th, executive session of the council, 6:30 p.m. We'll get notice out. And then our next town council meeting is scheduled for January 12th at 6:30. If we can be in person, we'll certainly do that, everyone, but if it's still not safe to do that, we'll be on Zoom call again, okay? Anything else for the good of the order?
Motion to adjourn.
Happy holidays.
Second.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Great holiday, everyone.
Later.
Holiday.
Happy holidays.
Happy
holidays.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, guys.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.